Hey everybody, T.O. with Art Geek Teaching. Today we're going to take a peek at the CIA and how they influenced modern art. Coming up. Okay, this is really cool. We're going to deep dive into the fascinating intersection of art, politics, and society. So today we're going to unravel a story that sounds almost too intriguing to be true. That is how the CIA used modern art as a weapon during the Cold War. Before we get into this espionage tale, though, let's lay some groundwork. What exactly is propaganda? And how does modernism fit into this narrative? So let's start with propaganda. Propaganda is essentially communication aimed at influencing the attitude of a community towards some cause or position. It's not always about presenting facts objectively, but rather it often involves selective facts, emotional appeal, and loaded language to sway an audience. So keep this in mind as we navigate through this information today. Next, on to modernism. Modernism, this philosophical and art movement emerged from the huge changes in Western society during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. It was all about breaking away from traditional forms, embracing new technologies, urbanization, the realities of war. And so artists like Jackson Pollock, for example, became symbols of freedom and creativity, starkly contrasting what was happening in the oppressive regimes of the Nazis and the Soviets during that time. So with that context, let's dive in to the heart of this story. The year is 1941, and John Hay Whitney takes over as president of the Museum of Modern Art, MoMA, setting the stage for one of the most fascinating uses of art in political warfare. So during World War II, MoMA didn't just showcase art, it became a weapon of national defense. Under the guidance of Nelson Rockefeller and later René Desjardins, the museum aligned itself closely with American foreign policy. This alignment laid the groundwork for what was to come in the Cold War, a battle not just of military might, but of cultural dominance. As the Cold War heated up, the Soviet Union labeled the U.S. a culturally barren wasteland. In response, the State Department launched Advancing American Art, a traveling exhibition showcasing American modern artists like Georgia O'Keeffe and Jacob Lawrence. But after the backlash from the American public and comments from President Truman himself, the initiative seemed to falter. But here's where it really gets interesting. The CIA recognized the potential of abstract expressionism as a counter to Soviet social realism. By Stalin's directive, there was only one aesthetic which was acceptable, and that was social realism. During the Soviet Congress of 1934, acceptable art was defined in 4 steps as 1. Proletarian, art relevant to the workers and understandable to them. 2. Typical, scenes of everyday life of the people. 3. Realistic, in the representational sense. And 4, partisan. The art had to be supportive of the aims of the state and the party. Unlike the uniform state-approved art of the USSR, American modern art was diverse, free, and crucially nonconformist. Nelson Rockefeller, with his unique position straddling the art world and international politics, played a pivotal role in what came next. In 1950, the CIA founded the Congress for Cultural Freedom, CCF, using Paris as its base to sway intellectuals away from communism. The Museum of Modern Art became a covert partner in this endeavor, with President Eisenhower himself declaring modern art a pillar of liberty. With President Eisenhower himself declaring modern art a pillar of liberty. Through the Rockefeller Brothers Fund and the Congress for Cultural Freedom, the CIA orchestrated international exhibitions of abstract expressionism. Artists like Jackson Pollock William de Kooning, and Mark Rothko became unwitting soldiers in the Cold War. Their works used to assert the superiority of American freedom and creativity. The operation was a testament to the power of art as a tool for political and ideological influence. For 17 years, the Congress for Cultural Freedom promoted American values, not with guns or propaganda in the traditional sense, but with canvas and paint. So what can we take away from this extraordinary story? Art, politics, and society are deeply intertwined. The CIA's use of modern art during the Cold War is a perfect example of how cultural endeavors can reflect, influence, and even shape political realities. It's a reminder that the value of art extends far beyond aesthetics. It can be a profound force for change, a weapon of soft power, and a mirror to our collective soul. Thank you for joining me on this journey through art, politics, and society. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and never underestimate the power of a paintbrush. Have a good night.